welcome in this new Inspired By video. Today I'm sharing Inspired by Sarah Trumpp. I freaking love her and I'm so glad that I can call her my friend. She's quirky and she's fun and she does yoga and she's not scared of making art that can seem strange, which allows me to paint what I see. It will make sense. And I will be sharing this big girl here. Her name is Sabrina. And I used some of the Wonder Trumpet stencil from Sarah. She has several Etsy shops, one dedicated to stencils, and just run to the store. I link it below and on the blog. And if you're like me, you will fall in love with each and every one of them. I'm sorry I'm creating a need there, but really you have to check it out. And she also has a stickers shop, and I can't wait to try some in my journals and artwork in general. And she has a Patreon. I will put everything in the description box, and I really hope you'll enjoy. And if you do, please share with your friends and with your family and with your neighbors, and give me a comment. Who do you think I should make an Inspired By video next? I would love to know. And there we go. I hope you'll enjoy. Bye. As you can see, I'm working on a wood panel that already has some artwork on. It's old, it's ugly, but you know, surfaces are expensive, so painting over. I'm using golden gesso with a wide flat brush to cover everything. However, I know I will need several coats because I used inks that love to pick through anything that goes over it. I knew that when starting, and that's okay because I know it's just the first layer and it won't matter at the end. I dried the gesso in between coats to be sure it will go smoothly. And as you can still see the character, but that's okay. I'm bringing plenty different papers to collage as my second layer. And I have a wide variety of papers. This is leftover jelly print that I then used my die cut machine, and it was like maybe 6 years ago. It's not more. This is tissue paper, and this is my favorite one. Give me all the stripes. I love black and white stripes. And this is bleeding tissue paper. So as you can see, I'm just applying it with gel medium and my favorite catalyst blade because it's flexible, so it's easier than a palette knife, in my opinion. And I just love them all. And this is a tissue paper that was given to me when I bought something. And there are all these plants and it's translucent. I just put it everywhere. And this one is scrapbook paper because I used to do Project Life and to be a subscriber of Studio Calico monthly kits. So I have way too much scrapbook paper that I do nothing with. So there we go. I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. And it will be, you know, it's an underneath layer, so that's okay. And now using the same gel medium and my catalyst tool, I'm adding some texture and visual interest via stencils. And I just love the stripes. Oh my god, yeah, I love stripes. And this is my signature texture, I would say, just using heavy gel or heavy gesso and just tapping it on the surface. And it will dry clear, but it needs to dry. So I let it for 24 hours and came back to it with paint. And Sarah tells us that usually you should pick colors that go in the same range of the paper, so that's what I tried to do. And I picked some that are more or less opaque. As you can see, the magenta is really translucent and it was bothering me, but then I thought that's okay, at least I will see the paper underneath. So I'm just using a very soft brush so it's easier to blend the color together and just having fun. I'm not overthinking, just adding the colors, seeing which one goes well with the other, etc. At some point, I won't lie, I got a little bit frustrated with the blending, but it happens, that's okay. Just push through it. Adding a pink border as it's very translucent. It will frame. And again, drying. It needs to dry. At this point, I really like where it's going, even though Sarah's color palette are usually darker. And at this point, I didn't know which way I wanted the canvas to go, so I'm flipping it over, trying to think of what would be best. And this is my favorite graphite. It's water soluble, and this is a sketch that I did with my almost 12-year-old daughter, and I'm challenging myself to bring characters to life in several canvases and share their stories. And this one is my introduction to Sabrina. That's her name. So it's challenging because I'm not much of a drawer, like I can draw in my opinion. So we will see where this will go. So just sketching to see how she fits on the canvas and doing my own version of Sarah's characters. I love the big mouth that she does. However, the teeth are not necessarily my thing. So I'm not adding teeth to her. And as you can see, I have troubles with my Stabilo. This one is in black, so I can see better. So I'm going over the graphite with the black, and it's still water soluble. And if you don't know these pencils, I urge you to find one and just play with it. And now adding the color. As you can see, I add some little bits of the pencils on the face, and it turns out gray. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? So I just kept going, adding some color for the eyes, and it's just, the first step to the face. So I always go through ugly phases and came to accept them for what they are, and I'm just, going. This was a big mistake, but that's okay, you can wipe it off and start over. I'm drying it, so I'm not moving the Stabilo bits even more, and I can actually go back on top of it. Now I'm using my Neo Color tool from Caran d'Ache, and these are two water soluble, but instead of activating them with water, I'm using my paint, and it adds life to her face. And I use my fingers a lot, adding some of the magenta I used on the background on the nose, and more of that beautiful aqua for the eyes. She's coming along. She needs more color though. And I love blending. It makes me happy. Activating the pencil. And my camera died, so I just used heavy body white acrylic paint for the hair, and now some acrylic marker to add highlights on the face and on her hair. And I wanted a subtle moon crescent mark on her big forehead, and it's not noticeable, but it's there. I like her. I was thinking, what do I do now? So I'm picking some of Sarah's stencil, and it's the plus sign stencil that I use everywhere because I love it so much. And I'm using a sponge to add some design with the Titan buff that I already used. So it's there, but it's not too much in the face. And now adding white on a shirt. It's just the base, so the color I will add later will pop more. And adding the Titan buff for the skirt. And as it's a cradled wood panel, I like going on the edge, so it kind of continues there. And shading. And of course it needs to dry. I love using the silks glaze. They are semi-translucent paints and they are very shimmery. And this one is the rustic rose, and I really like it because the shimmers are just amazing. And drying, and as you can see, by drying them, the colors kind of shifts. And adding a second layer. And for the color I use a Pretty Peridot, which is a pretty green. And I picked green and pink because to me they are the colors of the heart chakra. And using another stencil from Sarah, which is amazing, and I will do a whole project with that later. And I wanted her to have a necklace, a big necklace. And I'm using a dark blue to just push through the stencils. I didn't paint over or it would have gotten everywhere. Oh, I love her face so much. Now I'm using white with shimmers for the hair. So you really need to pay attention to see it, but it adds that little something that was missing. As you can see, it's shimmery. And I felt like she was missing something. So I'm getting mini stencils out to see what I would like. And I love adding antlers to my girls. And it was not part of the sketch, but it felt so natural and normal on the moment that I didn't think over too much and just went for it. Flip over the stencil, but clean it up before or it will be messy. Yay! And now I'm just outlining it so we can see it better. I'm not going for perfection, I'm just feeling it and what she's telling me she needs. And now I'm using my oil pastels. And because I want to be sure of the colors, I'm using the sketchbook I put her on first and just testing the colors there to see what I feel would be best. And I'm going for that blue. And she needed the 3 drops that are my signature symbol. And it adds a pop of color as well. A little bit of contrast was needed. and I love doing these little marks and using the same color to add on her skirt. And I'm blending with my finger because it helps with seeing the texture underneath, because I'm very big on texture and I love her so much. So I wanted this curl somewhere, but I didn't know where to put it, so I thought it would just be on her side. And as you can see, it's not perfect. And there she go. I hope you liked it. So please share my video and thumb up and leave me a comment to tell me which artist I should do for my next Inspired by series. Bye!